the best dividend-paying stocks in the Kenyan stock market for the month of August and September. Well, hello there and welcome to today's video whereby we'll be looking at which companies are paying shareholders just to own them. And in this list, we have 10 upcoming opportunities that I think you should know about. If this is the first time you're landing on this page, hi there, my name is Gertrude, and on this channel we talk about all things money. That is how you can make it, how you can make the money work for you, budgeting, saving, etc. If that sounds like something you are interested in, hit that like and subscribe button and drop a comment. I love meeting new people, so drop a comment and let me know your thoughts about this update. All right, okay. And for the OGs, subscribers and watchers, thank you so much for coming back to this video, and let's get started. So as I've said, we are looking at 10 companies that will be paying a part of the profit the company makes with their shareholders. So far we have 10, right? Okay, let's get started. If this whole scene is a new one, what are dividend stocks? Dividend stocks are simply, as I've stated earlier, companies that share part of the profit made with their investor, right? Okay, let's get started. And number one on our list today, before that, I'll segment this video in this way. I'll mention the company, the sector, their dividend type, their share, the current share price as at the time I am making this list, the dividend per share, the book closure date, the payment date, and if you own 100,000 shares of this company, how much you should expect. Yes, I brought back the 100k segment. Yay! Right? Okay, so let's get started. The first company on this list is none other than Stanbic. Now, Stanbic Holdings is in the banking sector. Now, Stanbic announced an interim dividend of 3.80 shillings per share. As at the time I was compiling this list, the share price for Stanbic was at 329.50 shillings. For anyone who would like to learn how to calculate the dividend yield, stick around, we'll share that information very soon. So Stanbic has a book closure date of 2nd September 2025 and the payment date will be on 29th September 2025. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Stanbic by the book closure date, you can expect to go home with 380,000, and remember, this is before tax. All right, okay, so number one, we have Stanbic with an interim dividend of 3.80 shillings per share. Number two is EABL. Now, EABL is in the manufacturing sector. Now, EABL East African Breweries announced a final dividend of 5.50 shillings per share. The current share price of EABL, as at the time I was compiling this list, was at 208.25. Yes, EABL at 208.25. Now, the dividend for EABL is 5.50 shillings and the book closure date will be on 16th September 2025 and the payment date will be on 28th October 2025. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of EABL, you can expect to go home with 550,000. That is more than 500,000 Kenyan shillings before taxes. Now, towards the end of this video, I'll share some very exciting news about the stock market. So stick around for that. Number 3, we have BAT. Now, BAT is in the manufacturing sector as well, and BAT announced an interim dividend of 10 shillings per share. Yes, 10 shillings per share. As at the time I was compiling this list, BAT was trading at 425 shillings per share. Now, their book closure date for BAT is was on 29th August 2025, and the payment date will be on 26th September 2025. Now, if you owned 100,000 shares of BAT by the book closure date, you can expect to go home with 1 million Kenyan shillings in passive income. 1 million in passive income. Now, the next company on our list today is none other than Capturo Tea. Now, Capturo is in the agricultural sector. Now, Capturo issued a first and final dividend of 25 shillings per share. The current share price of Capturo, as at the time I was compiling this list, was at 319 shillings point 25. Now, so Captura first and final dividend of 25 shillings per share. Now, the book closure date was on 31st July 2025, and the payment date will be on 2nd September 2025. Now, if you owned 100,000 shares of Captura by the book closure date, you can expect to go home with 2.5 million Kenyan shillings. Yes, 2.5 in passive income. That is how we get our money to work for us. Now, another company on this list is Williamson Tea, which is also in the agricultural sector. Now, Williamson Tea also issued a first and final dividend of 10 shillings per share. Now, as at the time I was compiling this list, Williamson Tea was trading at 235.75 shillings per share. Now, for anyone who would like to know how to calculate the dividend yield, it is simply the dividend per share divided by the current share price. As simple as that. So back to Williamson Tea, which issued a first and final dividend of 10 shillings per share. Now, their book closure date was on 31st July 2025, and the payment date will be on 2nd September 2025. Now, if you owned 100,000 shares of Williamson Tea by the book closure date, you could be going home with 1 million shillings. Yes, 1 million in passive income just by becoming a shareholder of this company. Now, the best part about this time we are becoming investors is that now you can start investing in Kenyan shares by buying just one share. Yeah, one share only. Whether it is Williamson Tea, which is trading at over 200 shillings, or Captura, or Stanbic, which is trading at over 300 shillings, you can become a shareholder. The entry barrier has been broken down. Long before this time, the minimum investment was 100 shares, meaning that if you wanted to own a company like Williamson Tea, you would have had to come out of pocket with a lot of money. But now, thanks to the new directive, you can now just buy one share and build from that. So no more excuses, no more having some shares only exclusive to a certain type of investor. We can all start building our portfolios. starting from one share. So let me not hear excuses that the amount needed to invest is a lot. That is long gone, right? Okay. This is the time that I remind you to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe if you are enjoying this video and finding value in it. By subscribing, you are encouraging me to make more videos like this, and also, yeah, mainly that. So like and subscribe, and back to the video. The next company on this list is a company that we all know, and most of us love it. All of us use it on a daily basis, whether it is through M-Pesa transactions, or making calls, or buying airtime, or accessing the internet right now. And that is Safaricom. Now, Safaricom is in the telecommunication sector. Now, Safaricom issued a final dividend of 0.65 shillings per share. At the time I was compiling this list, Safaricom was trading at 26.40 shillings per share. Now, Safaricom had a book closure date of 31st July 2025. The payment date will be on 31st August 2025. Now, if you owned 100,000 shares of Safaricom, by the book closure date, you would be going home with 65,000 before tax. 65,000 before withholding tax. Yeah, that's it. The next company on our list is none other than Liberty. Now, Liberty Kenya, which is in the insurance sector, which has been doing rather well this year. Most of the stocks have been doing rather well. Issued a final and special dividend of 1.60 shillings per share. Now, at the time I was compiling this list, Liberty was trading at 10.90 shillings per share. The book closure date for Liberty Kenya was on 14th June 2025. And the payment date will be on 24th August 2025. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Liberty Kenya, you would be going home with 160,000 before taxes, yes. Now, I'd like to mention that if you would like to learn what these different dividend types mean, you can watch this video which explains what each dividend type is. What is an interim dividend? What is a first and final dividend? What is a final dividend? What is a special dividend? In this video, you'll find that explanation. So make sure you watch it after this video. Alright? Okay. Now we are down to our last three companies on this list, and number 7, is it 7, is none other than Absa Bank. Yes, Absa, which is in the banking sector, announced an interim dividend of 0.20 shillings per share in the financial results that just came out this week. So an interim dividend of 0.20 shillings per share. As at the time I was compiling this list, Absa Bank was trading at 19.95 shillings per share. Now, the book closure date for Absa Bank will be on 19th September 2025, and the payment date will be on 15th October 2025. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Absa Kenya, you would be going home with 20,000 shillings before taxes. Now we are down to our last two companies on this list. But before that, I'd like to mention that we are going to be having a 2-day bootcamp or masterclass whereby I'll be teaching you how to invest in the NSE, that is buying shares and ETFs listed on the stock market. Now, this will be different from what I've been doing. Why? Because during these 2-day sessions, we'll have a theory session, and afterwards we'll have a practical session whereby not only will I be impacting the knowledge that I have, but I'll also be holding your hand so that by the end of these 2 days you can confidently invest on your own. And the thing is, during these sessions, I'll not only, as I've said, I'll not only give you the knowledge and information, but also I'll help you set up the necessary accounts and help you avoid the beginner mistakes. All right? Okay. I hope to see you sign up. If you'd like to sign up, you can sign up using the link in the description box down below or in the pinned comment. All right? Okay, let's go down to our last 2 companies on this list, and feel free to refer anyone who would benefit from such a bootcamp or masterclass. Remember, it's 2 days. All right? Okay, let's go to our last 2 companies. Now, in our last 2 companies, and the second last company on this list is none other than KCB. Now, KCB is in the banking sector. Now, KCB announced an interim and special dividend of 2 shillings. So, an interim dividend of 2 shillings and a special dividend of 2 shillings, totaling to 4 shillings. Now, this is an increase from last year's interim dividend, which was at 1.50 shillings, and this is because the profit made by this company has shot up by over 40%. I believe it's 49%. And yeah, when a company does well, it also can increase the dividend issued to its shareholder. Now, the book closure date for this interim and special dividend by KCB will be on 3rd September 2025, and the payment date will be on or about 11th November 2025. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of KCB by the book closure date, you will go home with over 400,000. You'll go home with 400,000 before taxes. Yes. Now, as I've said, for KCB, it has increased the dividend because of their good performance. However, at times we can have companies that work in reverse. For example, the first company we talked about, which is Stanbic Holdings, doubled its share price from 1.84 shillings per share to 3.80 shillings per share, and this is even after the net income fell by 9%, that is to 6.54 billion. Now, if this was a rational, if this issuance of dividends followed a set rule, this would be weird. How come when the company does well, it increases its profit, you increase the amount you issue to shareholders, but in Stanbic's case, you find that yes, it has doubled its dividend, but the net income fell by 9%. Why would it do this? Well, the chief finance officer for Stanbic, that is Dennis Nsao, said that the payouts are guided by principles rather than short-term earning trends, focusing on expected growth, risk absorption capacity, and regulatory compliance. So what Dennis is simply saying is that we are not looking at the performance right now. Yes, short term, the income has fell by 9%, but we expect growth for the company. Therefore, we are increasing, guided by the principles that this company has. So, as I'll go back to the masterclass that I was talking to you about. During this masterclass, we'll also look at what principles guide such companies, and this is in terms of being a long-term investor. So if you've not registered, what are you waiting for? Register right now. And now we can go to our last company on this list, which is Car and General. Now, Car and General is in the automobile sector. Now, Car and General issued an interim dividend of 0.30 shillings per share. The price, as at the time I was compiling this list for C&R, was at 26.40 shillings. And the book closure date will be on 2nd September 2025, and the payment date will be on 15th September 2025. Now, if you own 100,000 shares of Car and General, by the book closure date, you'll go home with 30,000 in passive income before taxes. Yes, that's it for this week's video. In the next one, let me not preempt, make sure you sign up, you register for the masterclass, which will be happening on 28th and 29th August 2025. Leave your thoughts about the situation in the Kenyan stock market in the comment section below. I love reading your thoughts and responses. That's it for this video. Make sure you watch any of these videos that YouTube thinks you will enjoy. And as always, I'd like to know who has reached this far. So comment the word glasses. Yes, comment the word glasses, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.